नमो तस्सा भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा संबुद्धस्सा नमो तस्सा भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा संबुद्धस्सा नमो तस्सा भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा संबुद्धस्सा इति पिसो भगवारहं सम्मा संबुद्धो विद्याचरण संपन्नो सुगतो लोकविदु अनुत्तरो पुरिसधम्म सारथि सत्ता देव मनुष्याणां बुद्धो भगवाति नमो तस्स सम्मा संबुद्धस्सा स्वकातो भगवता धम्मो संदिटिको अकालिको एहि पस्सिको वपनायको पच्छत्तं वेदितव्यो विन्नुहीति नमो तस्स नियानिकस्य धम्मस्सा सुपटिपन्नो भगवतो सावक संगो उजुपटिपन्नो भगवतो सावक संगो न्यायपटिपन्नो भगवतो सावक संगो सामीचिपटिपन्नो भगवतो सावक संगो यदिदं चत्तारि पुरिसयुगानि अट्टपुरिसपुग्गल एषा भगवतो सावक संगो आहुनय्यो पाहुनय्यो दक्किनय्यो अंजलिकरणीयो अनुत्तरं पुण्यकेतं लोकस्साति नमो तस्स अट्ट अर्य पुग्गला महासंगसा साधु साधु. So today's topic is fate and free will. This discussion on this fate and free will, it is like you can say it started from the time of birth of religions. It is time immemorial. When you look at the discussion when it started about this fate and free will, so you can go or you can just relate it with the birth of religions, because the very religion, the very reason for the birth of religions, we can say it, can attribute the very reason for the birth of religions to sort out the importance of fate over free will, or the importance of free will over fate. To fix this problem, we can say that many religions have started. As we were discussing in Aganya Sutta, the knowledge of beginnings, the discourse on the knowledge of beginnings, some time back. The very beginning, the origin of the beginning, so that can be attributed, the knowledge that people started deriving about the knowledge of beginning, that can be attributed to the birth of religions. So any religion, if it starts its origin, then it has definitely, it should have some seeking or some say intention to discover which is superior, whether the fate is superior or the free will is superior. To decide the superiority of one of these things, many religions, many views, many concepts, many philosophies, they have come to this world. So that is the significance of this topic of fate and free will. What is this fate and what is this free will? Just we will see for some 5 minutes. Then we will see what are the different, say, presentations or the approaches of different philosophers. The modern day, even the scientists also, they talk so much about free will, philosophers. And then we will see the common understanding about the fate and free will. Then we will see the religious approach, how in different religions, the religious masters of the religions themselves, they look at this concept of fate and free will, that we will see. And then we will see, so in the scriptures, the Buddhist scriptures, what Buddha talks about this fate and free will, that we will see. And then we will see how this right view approach, how we are working on this fate and free will, understanding fate and free will in this right view approach through our different programs, different meditation programs, how we are working on this fate and free will, how we are trying to develop both the idea of free will in us and also the idea of fate, the holistic idea of fate, the holistic idea of free will one should develop. One need not reject any one of these two. One should holistically take up both these things and one should synthesize these things in one's own, say, mind cultivation or mind purification. So these 4 5 levels we will see in today's discussion, in this today's talk. Now, to start with the understanding of what is this fate and what is this free will. So this fate, of course, many of you are very much familiar with this word fate. So if say if you failed in the exam, your career, in your profession, in the relation, oh, it's all my fate. That's how people they say. And they say in India, they in addition to fate, they use the word karma. It's all my karma. So I lost it. It's all my karma. I got it. It's my karma. And that way. They don't say take these success and failure, especially the people who are having some spiritual bent. It's all my karma. So it's my success because of my karma. My failure is because of my karma. So that they can maintain some kind of equanimity, some kind of balance, not get carried away when you're successful in some excitement, or not get carried away in disappointment when you're failed. So to maintain that equanimity, this concept of fate, this concept of karma, that is very much seen, especially in all religious countries. We can see that. In India also, it's very much there. In other religious, theistic religions, especially, they attribute all this success and failure not just to the fate, not just to the one's own karma, even to the God. It's all God's will. Instead of bringing in this I-ness and minus and my will, my free will, my choice, they just attribute this success and failure to it's all God's will. It's all God's, grace. Yeah, they use the word the grace also. It's all God's, blessings or God's grace, God's will. So just to let go this idea of I-ness, that is very much strong, especially in this modern generation. Now, in the name of free will, many people are simply bringing in this. It is my free will. When the question of free will, and automatically it becomes my free will. So when this my free will, it becomes very much, strong. When it becomes stronger and stronger, in addition to free will, this I-ness and minus also will become strong. So in that way, what happens? This I-ness and minus is the other phase of ignorance. If it becomes stronger and stronger, and if it lacks discretion, wisdom, but I-ness and minus, then it becomes ignorance, and that will make you to invite a lot of suffering. Because of that reason, many spiritual people, religious people, they brought in this concept of fate, concept of God, concept of God's will, concept of destiny. There is one more word, destiny. There is one slight difference between destiny and fate. You are destined to become like this. You are destined to fail. You are destined to succeed. In that way, we say. And when we use the word fate, it is determined by the cosmos, determined by the God, determined by the existence. So to give credit to the existence, to the cosmos, generally we use the word fate. Whereas your own previous actions, they have determined you to achieve success. They have destined you, that predestined thing, preconditioned. Your previous actions have preconditioned for you to achieve success, achieve happiness, achieve failure, or end up in failure. So that kind of your previous actions that have some significant impact on present success or failure. To indicate that, people use the word destiny, and also for the future. You are destined to become a billionaire. You're destined to become a teacher. You're destined to become uh, a celebrity. In that way, when we call somebody as, say, when we talk about his future, then we say his present actions, how they are tuning him, how they are molding him to achieve success in future. For that kind of one's own actions that will mold him to the future, or that has molded him because of his previous actions. For such kind of one's own actions and their impact on the present, are the present actions which will have impact on the future. For that kind of situation, we use the word this destiny. Whereas the cosmos, the existence, the God, he has some impact on your life. To indicate that, we use the word fate. Generally, but sometimes they interchange the explanations in some concepts, in some say circumstances. So, but this destiny and fate, they're more of like, say, it is like that predetermined aspect is there. That determined. There is one word called say determentalism, something like that. In the philosophy, they use that word. It's like determined either by the God or by the cosmos or by your own actions. If that is there, then it is called, and then it comes under this group of fate, destiny, and all these things. That is fixed. The very meaning of fate, fatum, it comes from the word fatum, a Greek word. So what is the meaning of fatum? Means like it has been spoken, it has been spoken of. That is the meaning of fatum. That means it is decided. Now there is no, so there is, you can't change it. There is no choice for you. You can't change it. So that kind of connotation is there in this word fate. It has already spoken of. It has already determined. So that kind of say fixing, that kind of already fixed notion is there. That is what is fate. So destiny also almost same meaning it carries. And what is free will? Free will is like each and every moment it is in my hands. I can do according to my desires, my intentions, my aspirations. I can change it. To give one simple example, your height is your fate, your weight is your free will. Your height is fixed. After 22, 23 years, you can't grow, or even after 20, you can't grow. That is fixed. Whereas weight you can handle. If you are putting on weight, then by exercise, by fasting, or say taking up some physical exercise, you can handle or you can change your weight. That is in your hands. But the height is like it is fixed. You can't change your height. So in that way, a few things are you can accept. You should accept. It can't be changed with your understanding, with your intelligence, and we should not work on those things which can't be changed. And a few things that can be changed, as in this example of height and weight. So you should work on it according to your requirement, according to your aspiration to get happiness. If you keep on, say, adding your weight, accumulating weight, then you invite a lot of diseases, lot of suffering. So if you don't want suffering, if you want happiness, then you have to work on this. And there, the role of this free will comes. Okay, in that way, the human plane especially is like, say, it is a mix of both these things, fate and free will. Again, coming to this Aganya Sutta, again, if you are like, say, when you start seeing the beginning of things, like when there was some dispute between the different individuals when the human society was evolving, uh, when they started taking food, when they started growing crops, when the human society started evolving. That time Buddha says, like there was some dispute among the individuals in sharing the crops, in sharing the food grains. Then a wise person who is say, a little bit wise and who can say distribute the crop based on one's efforts in growing the crop, in protecting the crop, and he was called as a Raja, hmm, or he was called the Kshetrapala or the Raja, who has some power, who can wield power on the lands because of his superior intelligence, superior effort, superior will. So in that way, where you can exercise your will, there you develop your intelligence, your power, your progress. So in that way, even this Buddhist cosmology also that we discussed some time back. So each and every realm, it has its own limitations, it has its own ability or its own say provision for exercising free will that you can see in different realms, different societies, different say communities. In a community which is we can say like in the Jain community, of course now Jains also they started taking non-vegetarian food, or say a community which takes only vegetarian food, and if you have taken birth there, then that's like it's like a fate. It's like your fate. You're destined to take birth there because of your previous actions, or because of cosmos, or whatever it is, because of God's will, whatever you say. There you should stick on to. You should simply accept it. And in the other aspects, accept this your say food. In all other aspects, you can exercise free will. But with respect to food, eating only vegetarian food, there it is determined. You should stick on to that, you should accept it. So in that way, each and every life is a mixture of this fate and free will. Each and every birth. Animals, they can't exercise a lot of free will. So there they have to they are destined to do something, eat something, die somewhere. Whereas the human world has, like say, it has more ability to exercise one's free will. And as people progress in this cosmos, this let us say in this cosmology, then in the divine realms they have higher free will. But if it becomes too much, then there is a risk of not understanding about the noble truths of life, and they can't work on their own mind, they can't liberate their mind. Because of that reason, again, Buddhas, they prefer the human world because they see that absolute balance in free will and fate in this human world, and in that balanced environment, one can learn different things, one can develop the mind to the best possible extent. Because of that reason, in the human realm or this human world is more congenial to understand freedom and fate authoritatively, correctly, and say progress in mind cultivation, mind purification. When you have this equal exposure to fate and free will in such an environment, in such societies, in such a realm, it is easy to develop the mind. It is easy to cultivate the mind, purify the mind. Because of that reason, again, one should appreciate, one should feel it is a great opportunity to take birth as a human being. Just like in the human realm, there is both happiness and suffering. There is both free will and fate in equal measures in this human realm. Because of that reason, again, it is a great opportunity to take birth in the human realm in this wonderful or a very balanced mix of fate and free will, where one can work authoritatively on one's own mind, one's own situations, and understand the ways and means to develop the mind, purify the mind, and liberate the mind. Because of that reason, the Buddhas, again, we can say, they choose this human realm because of not only this equal measure of happiness and suffering is there. It is because of the equal measure of free will and fate. It works in this human realm. Okay. So many spiritual people, religious people, God-centered people, theists, they're more inclined towards fate and destiny. And many atheistic people, many agnostic people, many say scientific people, modern people, they incline more towards free will. But in some cases, like Einstein, though he was a scientist and he was absolutely exercised his free will, he could discover path-breaking theories like this law of relativity and all, with absolute free will. But still, he had a lot of say conviction on fate, conviction on destiny. And many people like Vyasa, who are so religious, who succumbed, who surrendered to the God's will, they talk so much about free will. That way, you can see examples where religious people talking about free will, where the scientific people with scientific temperaments, they talk so much about fate. You can see that. So what you can learn from this, so a beautiful mixture of fate and free will, it works in this human realm, and people who accept this the role of both fate and free will, or destiny and free will, with complete discretion, with finer intelligence, they only can become successful either in science or in religion, either in the spiritual world or in the materialistic world. So, in that way, understanding the role of the destiny in one's own life and accept it, and understanding how one's own the human attributes, very special human attributes like one's own discrete knowledge, intelligence, one's own conviction, one's own compassion, one's own awareness, that we usually discuss and work on the different four faculties of the mind in our meditation courses. One should exercise these human attributes, human special qualities, and develop them so that one can develop that discrete wisdom. Even free will, in the name of free will, you can't do 1 million things. Many people they say all evil is because of free will. Evil and free will, they go together. That's what many people say. Many religious people. To some extent, it is true also. In the name of free will, people are doing 1 million things which are detrimental, which are not either beneficial for them or beneficial for the society. So on the same say this fate also, it has its own negative say face or negative implications. If you are too much into fate, then you may develop the blind beliefs, blind faith, and in the name of again fate and faith and faith, they go together many a times. And because of that, again, you may indulge in some kind of evil things, thinking that it is good, thinking that it gives you happiness, gives you and also for your society happiness. One can indulge in a lot of unnecessary things, unlawful things, evil things in the name of again fate, destiny, faith. So in that way, understanding the intricacies of the fate and destiny, understanding the good and bad effects of free will, and exercising them based on that understanding is the best way. That middle path approach one should follow, again with understanding, again with discretion. So in different religions, in Islam also, in Christianity, Hinduism also, saying, of course, when Krishna talks about so many things, when people they start so much about free will, No, I am so compassionate to my relatives. I don't want to kill them. It is my free will that I am exercising now. I don't want to kill them. I don't want to indulge in this killing, violence, war. When Arjuna started resisting to wage war, then Buddha has to bring in this concept of fate. As a Kshatriya, as a king, you are destined to kill. So once you are destined in this community, in this situation now, as a warrior who is encountering so many enemies in front of you, now this kind of timidity, this kind of thinking about free will, this is not suitable. This is not wise. This is not intelligent way of applying free will. Now you just accept the situation. Now this is your fate. Now this is your destiny. You're destined to wage war. You're destined to kill. Because so many factors, taking birth as a Kshatriya, taking birth as a king, and encountering the war, all these are destined. Now killing is also your destiny. Now you can't resist. Now you can't escape from it. In that way, he has to bring in that topic of destiny at that situation. Though he encouraged several times all his disciples about the importance of free will. In the Gita itself, he talks about Gnana Yoga and exercising Gnana, determining what is good, what is bad for you. But now at that situation, he brought in the concept of destiny and fate to motivate him to wage war, to accept the situation. So that is what again Einstein also talks about. So if I keep on thinking so much about free will, then I will get confused in choosing this or that. Or the life becomes too serious for me. In deciding what is good, what is bad itself, the whole life will be wasted. A few things, as a husband, I should accept it. Simply thinking, not I should do that thing, this thing. Not as a husband, I should just give up this, I should do something else. Then you will not have that cordial relation with the people around you or with the society or with yourself also. Because if there are so many options, then the confusion starts, seriousness starts, too much thinking starts, and a lot of problems you invite. When you simply accept, yes, now I am husband, now I am father, now I am teacher, now I am brother, now I am employee, now I am employer. Simply accept, then you fit into that role, and then you don't think of so many unnecessary other options, and your mind will say will be free in simply accepting and indulging in that particular role, in that particular action. So in that way, the wise people, like say Krishna or even the scientists like say this Einstein and all, they accepted the importance of destiny, importance of fate, in addition to say thinking about in different fields where one can think of exercising one's free will. But there are so many fields where one should appreciate and accept and say follow the destiny or the fate. Say one of my teachers used to say, an auto is an auto, and a car is a car, and a bus is a bus, and a flight is a flight. An auto can't think itself as say, I have free will. I can take 10 people, 20 people inside my body, and I can carry so many people. I have free will. No, it has its own limitation. It can take 3 people, 4 people maximum. A bus can take 60 people, 100 people maximum. A flight can take some 500 people, 400, 300, 400, 500 people maximum. So in that way, a few things are destined. The same way the human life has its own fixed lifespan, fixed height, something like height. The lifespan is also destined. In the same way, say some relations are also destined. You can't change out of your free will, your father, your mother, a few things you can't change. So in that way, a few things you can't change, you should accept it and you should take it as destiny. And a few things that you can change, there you can exercise your free will. So in that way, Now, more or less, all religions they talk about, or all other philosophies also they talk about the importance of this, say, having this balance in appreciating fate and free will. But I can say we can generalize all the theistic approaches, like all theistic religions, the God-centered religions. They are little bit inclined towards fate. And of course, during those times, it was very much necessary when people started thinking so much about free will. Then, then that too much individualism, it has corrupted the order in the society. To establish that order in the society, they might have promoted that God-centeredness and superiority of the God and submitting one's will to that supreme will or the God's will, and thereby creating, establishing some hierarchy, some order in the society to create some peace. That may be their intention. But now, in let us say in this 21st century, when this individualism is becoming more and more prominent in individuals' say approach towards life, their free will is playing a dominant role. It has its own advantages, but at the same time, it has its own limitations also, it has its own side effects also. Now we can see a lot of psychological problems, psychosomatic issues, psychological disorders. It's all because of too much emphasis on free will only. Of course, free will is a must to develop your human attributes, human qualities like your intelligence, your willpower, your hard work, your skillful work, to develop your skillfulness, your creativity, to, to explore all these things which are there in the human mind. Free will, the concept of free will is a must. But when it goes uncontrolled, then you can see this kind of problems. I've seen so many people coming here and talking to me from all over the world about their psychological problems. They have problem with choosing this person and that person as their husband or their wife. They have problem in choosing this company and that company. Again, there are so many options, and again, when you want to exercise your free will, then that indecisiveness, that is the biggest problem of free will. Too much emphasis on free will. So that indecisiveness is the biggest cause of human suffering now. In earlier days, let us say in joint families or the families which are having some order, some hierarchy, whether it is religious hierarchy or social hierarchy or family hierarchy, there was some kind of decision that whole society used to accept, and they're bound with that. They're bound by that decision, and then there was no problem in say taking decision, because one decision is like final decision of everyone, or of that order, or of that hierarchy. Because of that, there is no tension in choosing the different options, different choices were not there. But now there are 1 million choices, either in relation or in jobs or in say say your any chosen field, not only your career. There are so many options now. Because of that, people are struggling. They're wasting time, years and years, not to decide whether this or that. That is because of too much emphasis on free will. There's nothing like societal consensus or the family consensus, because there is no order either in the family or in the society. Because of that, individual, if he is so much greedy, so much ambitious, then decision making has become a very tough thing, very difficult thing for many of the people. And because of that indecisiveness, they're inviting a lot of problems, lot of psychological problems, like anxiety, depression, all your serious psychological issues like your schizophrenia, bipolar, all these psychological issues, they are because of indecisiveness only. Because you can't say, well, sometimes this looks to be very, very fascinating. This job, this career, this partner, this relation looks very, very fascinating. And the very next moment, something else, it looks very, very attractive. So then your mind will wobble like anything. then you can't take decision. Then you're inviting tension, stress, depression, anxiety, all these things. So in that way, free will has its own, say, negative effects also. At the same time, without free will, you can't again move ahead in the life. This Stephen Hawking, he says, like though people they talk so much about faith, and he was of course uh, he was having his own many religious people as his friends. Everything, nothing will move him from his faith. So he says is it okay now? Am I audible?
Yes, Bhanteji.
Okay. So, so whatever your belief in fate, everything is according to the will of the God. But when you want to cross a road, you will see here and there, you judge, you start thinking, you start using your intelligence. So, whatever may be your deep faith or deep trust in the will of the God, but each and every moment, knowingly or unknowingly, you are into discrimination, you are into using your intelligence of what to do and what not to do. That way, not only will and free will and fate, it goes one after the other. That's what many people, many wise people say. But this person says they always go together. Each and every second of your life, each and every consciousness that arises in your mind, there is some aspect of the mind that says you should accept fate, and at the same time, the other aspect of the mind, it says there is free will too, and you are deciding, you are determining, you are using your discretion, you are using your intelligence of choosing this or choosing that. They go together almost simultaneously. They almost together. There is no time lapse in accepting fate, in accepting destiny, and using free will. There is no time lapse at all. In that way, also many people, not only the scientific people or this very matured world scientists, even the matured world philosophers, theists also, so many religious leaders also, they talk in the same tone that each and every consciousness of the mind, each and every thought moment, mind moment, it is imbued with both the acceptance of fate and exercising of free will. Both these things go together. In some cases, it may get skewed. It may take a little dominance of either fate, and again one will end up in suffering. Whether it inclines towards free will, again one may end up in suffering. So, not to get carried away with this complete, say, uh, dominance of free will. That is also dangerous. It will make you to invite more and more suffering, or simply carried away in the fate. That will also invite you to have more and more miseries and more suffering. If you realize that your life is full of each and every moment, it is blended with both fate and free will, then there will be complete harmony. There will be complete wise decisiveness each and every moment. Mm. So this complete acceptance of the role of both fate and free will in each and every moment of the life is true wisdom. So in that way, though some religions, though some schools of thought in different religions, they emphasize more on fate, or some religions or some scientific philosophers or scientists, they emphasize more on free will. But once wisdom, if it matures, then all of them, they agree with the importance of blending fate and free will in each and every decision that we take in the life. So that is what we can see from the statements, from the quotes of these different scientists, philosophers, religious leaders, or the religions, the religious scriptures also, we can see this. Now coming to the Buddha's version of free will and fate, how much he emphasizes on fate and free will. Many people say they think that Buddha emphasized so much on free will. So Buddha is a very modern philosopher. He was not at all a religious leader. To some extent, that is true, but he gave a lot of emphasis on faith also, faith and fate also. Many things are distinct. And of course, he will say the previous actions only have made you to have this destiny, and the present actions only will become, say, your future destiny. So because of he gives complete emphasis on this law of cause and effect. And both this fate and free will come under this law of cause and effect only. Karma Siddhanta, this Karma theory. So that's what is Buddha's version. So in that law of cause and effect also, this Karma Niyama also, there is a beautiful blend of this fate and free will is there. Your destiny is not the cosmos destiny or the universal destiny, or it is the will of the God. It is your own previous action that have made you to have this present life or present situation. Let us say now you are in a prison. Let us say, so your previous evil actions that you have done, they are the cause to say that have made you to be in this prison now. Now we are enjoying, say, some very good, say, very pleasant environment of good friends, or say very acceptable weather or relations or friends around you. It's again because of your previous good actions that you have done. The law of attraction, good begets good, bad begets bad. So all the previous good things, they have accumulated, and as a result of it, now we are enjoying the good results. All your bad actions that you have done previously, so they have accumulated, and and because of this law of attraction, you have attracted that kind of good results, and you are enjoying the good things. So in that way, this law of cause and effect, the law of attraction, again there is a good blend of your destiny and free will. In that way, Buddha talks about. Once one of the disciples, he came to Buddha and he asked, he emphasized so much on non-action, non-action, don't do this, don't do this, so many things. Buddha, of course, in his, when he talks about so many moral things or virtuous things, he emphasizes don't do this, don't kill, don't take intoxicants, don't steal, don't do so many things. That way you say so many things and you restrain people, and that make them inactive, non-active. So emphasize so much on non-action. That way he complains actually. Buddha kept quiet. And then the other, one more disciple came and he talks about, you emphasize so much on action. You do this meritorious action, that meritorious action, you should do this, the charity, you should do these generous actions, you should do meditation, you should do that, do this, you should do punyanamodana, you should uh, read this, you should practice this. That way you emphasize so much on action. For that also Buddha kept quiet. Then both of them, they were puzzled, they were a bit shocked. For both these actions, when I complained Buddha about his emphasis on actions, he kept quiet. When I complained about his emphasis on non-action, he kept quiet. What exactly is his point of view? That they asked. Then Buddha says, again, your actions for what? That understanding of why I have to indulge in actions, where these actions will take me to, that understanding you should have. When you are into this non-action, not doing something, where this non-action will take me to, that kind of understanding, that kind of wisdom you should have. In that way, the idea of, say, accepting something and keeping quiet, accepting something and doing something else, which is relevant, which is suitable for you. So that suitability, that relevance, Buddha highlights either in action or non-action, either using free will or using fate, or accepting, thinking it as fate. And Buddha's emphasis always is on mind purification and mind liberation. If this action takes me to mind's liberation, mind's purification, I indulge in it. If this action will bind me, will hinder my freedom, it will trap me into some kind of say accumulation of defilements in my mind, then that kind of actions I should not do. So the Buddha's emphasis of action and non-action accepting fate and exercising free will is based upon where it takes whether it takes me to freedom and liberation and emancipation and enlightenment, or whether it binds me. So that kind of discretion always Buddha highlights either in action and non-action, or in other words, in fate and free will. So that kind of approach is Buddha's approach. If my actions will take me to say annihilate my own defilements like greed, hatred, and delusion, then I will indulge in that kind of reaction. If they don't take me to annihilation of this free will, this annihilation of hate, greed, and delusion, then I simply keep quiet. And then I take it as, like say, it's my fate and keep quiet. So in that way, your acceptance of free will or exercising of free will and accepting fate, it depends upon whether they lead to the removal of these, the root causes of my suffering, hatred, greed, and ignorance from my mind. That is the yardstick. That is the thumb rule that Buddha say uh, highlights or emphasizes. So if this approach, if this understanding is there in your acceptance of fate, acceptance of say this exercising free will, this thumb rule, if you keep in your mind, whether these things in exercising my free will lead to the removal of my own hatred, my own greed, my own ignorance from my mind, and that leads to the liberation of my mind, then you exercise your free will. Then you go ahead while accepting something as destiny. So whether it leads to again the removal of greed, hatred, and delusion from my mind, then you accept it as my destiny. If it won't, then go for exercising the free will. So that is what is the yardstick or the thumb rule given by Buddha. Okay. So in that way, so when you are exercising your free will, many people, many youngsters now in this 21st century, you just see this thumb rule. You just exercise this, bring in this wisdom in exercising your free will. Whether this kind of say now there was one girl I used to give this example in Bangalore. She was having some 4 5 options after her graduation, whether she wants to pursue her post graduation, go for some civil service, or take up jobs. And she was struggling from past 4 5 years. And sometime back also she sent me a message. So it became 8 9 years, 10 years. Still she is struggling whether to do this or do that. And such kind of people are only they end up in stress, this kind of psychological issues like anxiety, like depression. The same thing you can see with the people in choosing the partners or in the relation. That this or that, they struggle, and they multiply that problem and it becomes depression, it becomes anxiety. In choosing career, in choosing job, in choosing relation or partner, because they want to exercise their free will and they become indecisive in their ambition to exercise their free will. So there you can just apply this rule, this thumb rule, whether these things, whether it will lead to annihilation or removal of my ignorance, removal of my greed, hatred. So just see that. Otherwise, simply accept it, whatever is there at that moment. No career is bad career. No relation is a bad relation. When you accept it and when you see how best I can support this relation, support this profession, in that way, how much that giving spirit, if you keep, nothing is bad. But very giving spirit is actually the way to annihilate your greed, hatred, and delusion, your defilements of the mind. So bring in this giving spirit, these 4 noble truths, and bring in this knowledge of this this enlightenment or the true happiness, whether my mind becoming free from this greed, hatred, and delusion, whether this giving spirit is involved in my decision. So these aspects, if you bring in, then you can strike the balance in accepting fate and exercising freely. Okay. So that's what we are doing in all our meditation courses, level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, and all the essential courses. And we are working on the 4 components of the mind. We are bringing in these aspects of deriving the true happiness by developing these 4 faculties of the mind, purifying these 4 faculties of the mind, balancing these 4 faculties of the mind. That's what we are achieving. Whether it is a feeling component, we are bringing in these 4 powerful feelings, wholesome feelings like metta, karuna, mudita, upekha, which will create an absolutely superior feelings, which will again destroy your negative feelings, negative defilements of the mind, like your greed, hatred, delusion. And we are bringing in these 4 wholesome confidence building techniques like chanda, virya, chitta, vimamsa. Again, they will annihilate the defilements of the mind authoritatively, and that will again help you to accept what you are supposed to accept. In chanda, that's what we emphasized. Many of you can remember. In chanda, you are asked to accept the situation because there is no other option to change it. Then I should accept it as a fate and destiny. And when we are talking about the second Iddhipada, when we are highlighting the importance of willing, I will, willpower, we are emphasizing. Where there is an option to exercise free will, which will take you to a superior mind, a purified mind, a liberating mind, or say the mind with superior happiness that you are going to achieve, then you should exercise free will. With that virya, with that concept of virya. So in the same way, you should exercise your intelligence. When you are talking about free will, there is an absolute wonderful role of intelligence also, the discretion also. The discretion based on your right perception like this, asubha, anicca, anatta, those things also should exercise. That's what we are working on while practicing this perception meditation, like this asubha, anicca meditation, anatta, asubha, all these things. And when you are developing this awareness meditations, consciousness or awareness building meditations, like all these meditations, starting from anapana, breathing meditation, 4 minutes meditation, all these meditations you are practicing. Again, you are exercising your free will, exercising your intelligence, all these great human qualities, human attributes, you are making use of them. And you are creating the fate now itself in this moment for your better future. It's again in your hands. In that way, this approach, this right view approach will rightly blend the best of fate, the best of free will in a very right, in a very proper combination, and then will give you these double benefits of purifying the mind and achieving the success in any chosen field. Okay, so these 2 things always you should keep in mind while accepting the destiny and exercising the free will. What are these 2 things? Like it should purify the mind to reach or to get the superior happiness, and also it should give you, should create that proper ambience to achieve success in any chosen field. So that is about our discussion on this fate and free will. I think this much is enough for today. If you have some quick questions, you can ask and then we'll continue. So the key takeaway or the summary of yeah, okay. Yeah. So your question is like, say, okay, let me just summarize. The key takeaway of this talk is like, say, don't fall into this extreme of simply relying on this destiny and free will, destiny, or the other aspect, the other side. The free will also don't completely being carried away this idea of free will. There is a danger of indecisiveness and inviting lot of problems. You invite a lot of psychological problems, then you invite the psychosomatic problems. Of when the psychological problems they accumulate, then they affect your body also. It will affect your physical health also. Because of that reason, don't fall into again these two extremes. And understand it is there in each and every moment. Mm. The role of fate is also there. The uh, the choice of free will is also there in each and every moment that you accept and understand. That is second point. The third point is like always bring in this right view, always bring in this right goal of the mind purification, of the liberation of the mind. That aspect always keep at the backdrop. Then you don't fall into the extreme of either believing only fate or believing free will. That extreme you don't fall into. Because this very aspiration of liberation, aspiration of mind purification, it will keep you in the track, it will keep you balanced. Just like I was telling you in the talk of equanimity. The equanimity will always protect you not to fall into the extremes. The same way, this aspiration of liberation, aspiration of enlightenment will keep you in the track. So that's what is one of the aspects of right view. And then the other thing, like say, the integrated approach, the holistic approach to handle the defilements of the mind. The true definition of liberation, one should know, it's becoming one with some kind of supernatural or supernatural power like God. With that kind of definition, if you have in your mind about enlightenment, again there is a risk of falling into these extremes of fate and extremes of destiny because the supernormal power or the supernatural power, it has its own destiny. I should tune with the destiny or my destiny with that destiny. That kind of wrong conclusions you may derive. So understand the importance of mind purification and liberation. Understand the right path to mind purification and liberation. Then you are into right view. And if you keep that right view as the basis for all your actions, for all the steps that you take in your life, for all your decisions, then you can blend the balance, you can achieve, you can strike the balance in accepting fate and free will, the role of both fate and free will in your lives, each and every moment of your life. Okay. So with that, we'll conclude today's Dhammata. नमो तस्सा भगवतो अर्हतो सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्सा भवतु सर्वमङ्गलं रक्षन्तु सर्वदेवता सर्वबुद्धानुभावेन सर्वधम्मानुभावेन सर्वसङ्घानुभावेन सदा स्वस्ति भवन्तु ते सुखी भवेयं निदुःखो अहं नित्या अहं विया इदा च मे सुखी होन्तु मज्जता चतवेदिनो मां गम्मन्ते धम्मे तत्त होन्तु सुखी सदा ततो परञ्चारज्येषु चक्रवालेषु जन्तनो साधु साधु. Okay, so your question is like, yeah, you should not relay this. Many people they consider they have free will with regard to the past events or past things. Regarding past, you should forget about the free will. Whatever happened is happened. It's my fate. You just accept it. And about the future, you apply, you exercise free will. So my future should be like that. For that, now I should do this. There, you should exercise your free will. But many people do the opposite. what they do? They keep on regretting, they keep on worrying about their past deeds, which they can't fix, which they can't change, because past is past, it's gone. For the gone things, what is the use of thinking alternatives and trying to think of, say, I would have done this instead of doing that? So for the future, you have to plan, you have to think, you have to be sure, you have to use your intelligence. For the future things, you have to plan, you have to exercise free will. For the past things, you should accept it as the fate. Based on the understanding of the fate and the previous things, you should exercise free will for the future, and then thoroughly involve in the present to create those causes and conditions for the planned future. Instead of majority of the people, they keep on regretting about the past, thinking so many alternatives that they would have done in the past that they can't apply for the past. Free will can't be applied for the past. Fate should not apply for the future. My future will be like that, so I keep quiet, I don't do anything. That is again foolish. Future is in your hands, because future you can, to a great extent, you can decide by creating the causes and conditions now in the present moment. There you have to apply free will. Instead of, say, living the future to the fate is foolishness. Applying free will in the past is foolishness. You apply fate for the past and exercise free will for the future. And based on that, if you develop your wisdom, then you enjoy the present. Okay. Sukhi Hontu Mangalfu. May all of you be happy, healthy, and peaceful. May all beings also be happy, healthy, and peaceful. Sukhi Hontu.